Hi, guys. So, as promised, here is another Facebook Live. So, today I want to just set up a premise here, something that's really important that I like to teach on that obviously relates to what I do as a mentor. And that's the concept of codependency and what it's not and why that matters. So, codependency, in my view, is a set of behaviors we developed or the codependent developed in order to survive what I call love deficit or love neglect. They Love is the essential ingredient we all need emotionally in order to thrive, right? And when we're growing up and we're in environments that don't readily give us love, we figure out through our brilliance how to get some of it from these people or from the situation. And typically in abusive or neglectful dynamics, we are dealing with people who do not know how to give love. They don't understand what love is. And they're in a survival mode. That survival mode may be codependency for themselves. It could be trauma fixation where they're really locked down with that and immobilized or paralyzed by it. It could be narcissism, which is a form of it's a way of surviving their own narcissistic injury. And so fundamentally, if we haven't gotten love in a free, safe, and nurturing way, we have figured out how to get it other ways. And that's what codependency fundamentally is we're making efforts to get love by pleasing, by fixing, by controlling, by caretaking or enabling, or by avoiding rocking the boat and upsetting the person. Because we figured out early on that if we make somebody feel good, then we can feel good too. And just maybe they'll give us something too. And the reason this is important is because there's a lot of points of view out there on codependency. Some say that codependency is a disease. It's something that we have to cope with, that we have to suffer with, that we have to live with. And that model alone is very dangerous in my mind because it reduces our ability to heal and to grow beyond it. Because if we identify with it as a disease, then we're kind of stuck with it. We can't do anything with it. We get into this coping loop and we don't grow. Plus, when we look at it as a disease, we become helpless. We become powerless. We believe that there's nothing we can do. So what do? We surrender and we just keep being codependent. We start fighting it. It's like, oh, I'm a pleaser. I've got to fight the pleasing. I got to stop the pleasing, which means you stop pleasing, but what do you do instead, right? Most of the time it's shut down. Or a lot of times you're given skills on top of this codependency pie that they're like, go out and ask for what you want. But you feel all this shame about what you want, right? So you're not naturally going to want to ask for what you want. You're going to feel petrified asking for what you want because you're still driven by shame, okay? That's one reason codependency is not, those are lots of reasons why it is not a disease. I don't want to take that approach because it doesn't support our healing. The next thing that's out there a lot is that codependency is an identity. It's part of who we are. And I don't agree with that either. Because if we see it as an identity and we want to go change it, a lot of times we're going to interpret that as there's something flawed in me. I'm codependent because I'm flawed, and now I've got to fix me. And codependency already tells us we're flawed. The shame that drives codependency, that's its big message. You're not enough. You're flawed. You get to earn love. Your only value is being a utility to somebody else and making them feel good in the way they want you to do that. So this sense of identity just brings it in deeper and we get really stuck. We start to amplify the self-hate, self-loathing, and self-abandonment that's already there. I mean, that's not going to be easy to fix, is it? And a lot of times if we think we are a thing, we're not going to let it go. Because then who the hell am I if I don't have this, right? What am I going to do now? So that's another reason that I attack codependency from a different angle. It is not who we are. It is not a disease. And it is not a flaw in us. It's actually a result of our brilliance. See, if we take it from a coping mechanism point of view, a survival strategy that we developed in order to navigate the lack of love in our life, we can see brilliance coming through it. The fact that we figured out that if I please a person this way or treat a person this way, they'll give me this, helped us survive that vacuum of love. And it helped us get to today, because that's what survival or coping mechanisms do for us. They help us get from one point to another so that once we reach a safe stasis, a safe place, we can then heal and then thrive. That's the whole point. And this is why it matters with codependency, because if we approach codependency as something that we have to cope with, something that we have to fix, something that we have to undo in ourselves, we are still stuck in the codependency. Its big message is we're flawed. We must earn love. Well, if I'm trying to fix codependency, I'm playing into its game and only amplifying it. So the way out of this is to look at it from a causal point of view. It's like, oh, this is how I get love. It's just a skill set, and I'm an expert at it. I'm an expert pleaser, and I'm an expert fixer. I know how to do these things. Great. Now we can add to that skill set a different set of skills that help you get that need or want met in a way that doesn't involve giving yourself up, right? That's what the big premise I build from. Now, the other trick here with codependency and actually healing it is if we think it's a disease, then there's something we can't heal. We get to live with it. If it's an identity, then it's not something we can change. We just have to resist it. But if it's a coping mechanism, specifically for the lack of something, what happens if we plug in that lack of something? So if it's a lack of love, what if we start feeding ourselves love instead? What changes there, right? When we integrate love where shame is inside ourselves, what we start to do is we start to naturally advocate for ourselves. We start to stand up for ourselves because we start to value ourselves as a human being. We leave what I call utility-based value and move into what's called connection-based value. When we start to realize our own value, we're worth knowing, loving, and keeping, then all these other skills that we get in therapy or we get from the self-help books, we get from other places, become relevant and useful and easy to execute. So that's the gist here. If you're struggling with codependency and therapy is not working out, your self-helping is not working out, all those books aren't making a big change, then you've probably been trying to fix codependency rather than evolve beyond it and discover who you are without it. And that all you got to do there to start that journey is start integrating love where the shame is, and then go through an embodiment or self-discovery process. So I just wanted to talk a bit about that today. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, so you won't see me online. But on Friday, I want to get back into some of the nitty-gritty with what worth looks like, how value is generated, and things like that, and continue to give you guys opportunities to grow in your life. Now, if you're interested in transforming your codependency into confidence, actually break through what you've been experiencing and change your life, reach out to me and we can get you enrolled in the Heal Mentorship Group where you will heal and you will grow. I have a 98% success rate in that. I've worked with over 436 people with it, and it's pretty cool to watch how fast that happens. In fact, today I had a session with a new client, first time he's worked with me, and he walks away going, this is amazing. I know what I can do here. He's been struggling with some things with his marriage, what he's going to do, how he wants to approach things, and he's got results in less than 90 minutes. He's like, yep, well, this makes sense. I know how to approach this differently that's going to get me what I want. And that's the point. When you have the right tools that address the right things, the right causes, then you get the results you're looking for. So guys, have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for joining me here today. And if you have any questions, just post them in chat. I'll be glad to answer them there. And you guys have a great holiday. And remember, you're worth knowing, you're worth loving, and you're worth keeping. I'll talk to you on Friday. Bye-bye.